Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today we're going nostalgic but putting our own spin on it. I've made some Mega Man blasters in the past, both the original with battle damage and my own take on one, and I recently found a helmet for Mega Man on Amazon. It was like $50 on sale, and I thought, why not? So I bought it, and it actually was cooler than I thought it was in terms of it opening up and actually having lights and all that stuff. So we are going to take this Mega Man helmet I bought online and turn it into a custom, hopefully rougher, tougher looking Mega Man. Let's get to building. I bought this helmet on Amazon a while back and finally got the itch to put my own spin on it. So step one was to open the box finally and take a look at it. I didn't realize it had lights on it when I bought it or that it split in half, but I did have an idea about the game plan for this helmet. I wanted to make him have some more firepower on his head. The concept was that the bullet mohawk feeds the guns, which are vented by the ears. Actually, step one is to rough up the nice paint job and give my glue something to stick to. So with some 120 grit sandpaper, I rough up all the surfaces. My bullet mohawk needs some sides to snug the bullets in. Originally, I was just going to cut a hole in the top strip and glue them in, but after opening it up, I realized that flipped up. So I switched gears and got some 6mm What the Foam to build up a sturdy wall. I used the width of my hobby knife and cut a few strips to super glue down. I also reinforced the sides with hot glue to make a sloppy weld line. These are some cheap plastic bullets I got at Halloween. Didn't know at the time that this is what they would be used for, but I am glad I hoard a bunch of random things to freestyle projects like this with. My slots will fit 3 rows, so I laid down some super glue to hold it in place, then come back with some hot glue and reinforce everything permanently. Another Halloween purchase making an appearance here. I buy lots of these for props because nothing immediately makes a prop look creepier than the skull of your enemies. I just cut out a square on the back of the skull and hot glue it onto the front square of the helmet. If the skull was a little bit larger, I could have set it further in, but I'm making do with what I have. I bought this Star-Lord blaster quite a while back and had the idea to do a repaint video, then every prop maker and their mother decided to make that video, so I'm using mine for parts. I cut out the tips and the backside and hot glue the mess out of them onto the helmet. I wear a respirator with a face shield for most of this build. Molten plastic will fly everywhere while cutting it. I've also had a cutting wheel explode on me before, so safety gear up and open a window. To fill this big empty space in the middle of the helmet, I decided to attach some sort of cords from the back to the front later. So here you see me drilling holes to prepare for those cords to go into. While these earpieces look cool, I wanted to make them fit the new style of the helmet, so I'm going to use some of those metal vents you've seen me use before. They are the perfect size. I cut out the perimeter of the lights, stuffed them into the vent, then hot glued the mess out of them on all sides. Careful if you do this, the torque on my Dremel snapped the electrical line when it broke free, and I had to practice my soldering skills to fix it. This helmet was perfectly smooth, so of course to fit our new aesthetic, I quickly heated up the surface with a blowtorch and made irregular imperfections. I also used a sanding drum on my rotary tool to scratch up areas. Please be careful if you decide to use a blowtorch on a prop, especially made of plastic. It will catch fire pretty easily, and make sure you wear a respirator and work in a well ventilated area. For my faux rivets, I'm using some faux jewels. I mark off my spacing and superglue them into place permanently.
Layer 1 of my paint job is a base coat of black spray paint to unify all the surfaces. After it dries, layer 2 is a light mist of silver, brown, and black for an aged metal look. Then layer 3 is a clear coat to protect those two layers. Layer 4 of my paint job, notice there's a lot of layers, will require some masking off, so I use painter's tape torn with jagged edges for large areas, then come back over it with toothpaste in small areas to make it even more irregular. The paint will stick to the toothpaste, then can be wiped off with a paper towel when dry. Like Christmas morning, it's time to unwrap this paint job, pull the tape back, and wipe away that minty toothpaste I used earlier. Makes my props smell fresh. The fifth layer, I am defining the base color of various parts to pick out the details. Once it dries, the sixth layer is another clear coat layer to preserve my progress and get it ready for weathering. Since I'm about to weather stuff, I needed to go ahead and connect my cables. These guns are asymmetrical, so I decided to make two different tubes. Plus, I only had a little piece of the shower cord, so I'm kind of improvising here. Simply hot glued into place. On the other side, I wrapped a bungee cord with metal duct tape, shoved it into vinyl tubing, and then torched it on the outside to make it look really old. Layer 6, 7, and 8 are acrylic washes with some Plaid Effects paint watered down just a little. Slap it sloppily on this helmet and then wipe it off with a paper towel. Build up the layers until you like the dirt level. The last layer of paint, finally. I am using some metal wax paint on the gun barrels to give it a heated metal color distortion look. I start with the mid color, which is red. The hottest point of the metal will turn blue, so that'll be at the tip of the nozzle. Then the color part furthest from the barrel is a gold color.
And we are finished. Here is the end result. Overall, I think it turned out pretty cool. Definitely gives me kind of a Mad Max post-apocalyptic type vibe to it. Maybe even like a Warhammer type build. But it's using things that are relatively unexpected in terms of a Mega Man thing. I've got a bullet mohawk. I've got a skull on the front. I've got an old shower cord. I put this bungee cord wrapped in foil inside of a tube to then give it another layer of ridiculousness. And then using a blaster from Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know. I just kind of threw together a bunch of random things thinking it would look cool. I didn't know that the helmet did that or that it opened when I bought it. It doesn't fit my head. My head is still way too big to fit inside of this, but definitely could fit somebody with a little bit less of a head than me. And it does have lights that make it look super cool. Maybe you will try and alter a helmet yourself and impress your friends with your ability to turn something that was once iconic and recognizable into something very weird looking. No judgment. Maybe you'll get some.
Yay!
And inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them, much props. Like I said, it doesn't fit on my head, but this guy's just kind of screaming to headbutt you.